Hey y'all. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm Patrice. I would love it if you would look at the other content, and if you enjoyed that content, please give it a thumbs up. And also, I would love it if you would stick around by hitting the subscribe button for my returning subscribers. Hey y'all, welcome back. So today's video is going to be about subbing onto cotton shirts. So if you are new to sublimation and you've just gotten into it, you may not realize that you cannot really sub onto cotton shirts or dark color shirts like dark greens, dark blues, or black. You can't, because the sublimation process does not work that way. The sublimation process needs to adhere to the fabric, and ink, a light color ink going into a black fabric is just not going to happen. And also, sublimation requires for you to have a high polyester count. It's usually recommended that you have at least a 65% polyester count in order to sub onto an item and have pretty decent colors. All right, so if you try to sub directly onto cotton, that ink is going to wash out. No matter what it is that you do, they have different hacks and things like that for you to be able to sub with the spray and that sort of thing. But you really aren't subbing into that shirt, and eventually it will wear out. And the beauty of the sublimation ink is that it's permanent and it's vibrant, and that's why we love sublimation. Now, some people will say, oh, well, can't you just do this on transfer paper? You know, this is just like transfer paper. Well, transfer paper, I don't know about y'all, but I haven't had that much success with transfer paper. The transfer paper that I've purchased has usually deteriorated after the second or third wash. So I don't really like to use transfer paper. That's why I do prefer to use some of the sublimation sheets that are available for us to use to apply onto cotton material or dark color material. All right, so I have this new product. It's called Forever Subli-Flex 202, and I will be trying that out today. This paper came courtesy of a local fellow crafter who I met through YouTube, and also I met through Facebook, and I actually met through another crafter who is on our page, and we actually work together, y'all. So she purchased these sheets, these Subli-Flex sheets, and she gave me a bunch for me to try out, for me to use, and that's what I am going to do today. Okay, and we are going to be subbing onto these shirts. Now, the ink is not going to even touch these shirts, so it's not really fair to say that we're going to sub onto these shirts. So we are going to be subbing onto this product, and this product is like a vinyl product. I'm not sure if you all have ever used a product like Easy Subli, but this product is really a vinyl. There is a shiny side, and there's a shiny side. Let's see if you guys can see that sheen, and then there's a matte side. Okay, and so we are going to print directly onto the matte side, and we will then cut this with our CRICUT machine, and we are simply going to press this into our shirt. Now, this paper, she gave me two different sizes. She gave me an 8.5 by 11, and she also gave me 11 by 17. So I am going to be using the 8.5 by 11 today, because with my CRICUT maker, as y'all know, I want to cut it out. So as y'all know, that we can't really cut large pieces, or we can't do the print then cut too large. So I'm just going to use the 8.5 by 11 today, so that we can just see how it's going to work. We are going to be printing 2 images and pressing twice, because this product, even though it's one sheet, this product can print either glossy or have a matte finish once it's pressed. Okay, and so it comes with extensive instructions on what to do, what heat should be on, what the time should be, how much pressure, and there's other things that is required. So you also, when pressing this particular vinyl, you also want to make sure you have 10 pieces of copy paper. Okay, so per the instructions, you need 10 pieces of copy paper to place, I guess, on top of the transfer film. I'm not sure why, but that is a part of the instruction, so that's a required step. But we're going to see. I'm not going through any of the designs. I'm actually going to just use some designs that I found on design bundles so that we can just go ahead and get this started and we can see how this works and how it will come out. All right, so let's get started. All right, guys, so this is the first image that we are going to be cutting, and you want to make sure if you are mirroring it in CRICUT, you don't need to mirror it again when you go to your print settings. I am printing this on premium presentation matte, high quality, and not mirroring it. All right, and so I did go into advanced settings and I changed this to Adobe RGB 2.2 gamma, but look, y'all, there's no roller marks on this, and I'm pretty impressed by that. So we are going to get ready to cut this. All right, guys, so we're all done with cutting this flower, and we are just going to remove it from the mat. I have my weeding tool, and we are just going to weed it off of the backing. Almost like it comes off pretty easy, almost just tears away. Very easy. All right, so then as you see, this part, it's still on the shiny side or the backing, and there's nothing there. So with this particular paper, from what I gathered, the ink will, once it's pressed, the ink will come through onto that side. So just like all other shirts, you want to make sure that you press this for about 5 to 10 seconds. This is part of their instructions. You want to get out any moisture or anything that may be in that shirt, and just to give it a nice press. All right, so that was 5 seconds. You should have probably lint rolled it first, but of course, I'm going off of these instructions, and it did not tell me that, but you always do want to make sure you kind of lint roll to make sure nothing gets trapped underneath the vinyl. That was only for 5 seconds, so I'm still going to lint roll it. All right, so we already cut out our design. We weeded it. We pre-pressed for 5 seconds. Now we're going to place our image on top of the shirt. All right, once we do that, they suggest that we place 10 pieces of copy paper on top of the image. And then once you do that, I'm just going to put a little Teflon sheet on top, just because. And then once we do that, we are then going to press this for 15 seconds. All right, that's 15 seconds. And then they suggest that we remove the copy paper. So we are going to remove the copy paper. And as you'll see, nothing has transferred onto the actual vinyl side of this yet. So we have to see what else needs to be done. Okay, so they suggest that we let this cool completely. So I'm going to remove it from under the press because that press stays hot for a while. So I'm going to remove it from under the press, and then we'll be back to press it again for 30 seconds. All right, guys, so we let it cool down, and this particular finish, we're doing the matte finish, and so they advise you to peel off the polyester foil that's on it, like I guess once it's cool, but it looks like this is not peeling off for me, so I don't know exactly what it is. That we're gonna try it again, okay, because it's not peeling and I let it cool off completely. So we are going to put it back under. We are going to press it again for 15 seconds, and then we are going to probably peel it warm. All right, we pressed that for 15 seconds. Oh, y'all, I think we were supposed to put the paper on top. We're gonna peel it off and see if it comes off. It does not come off. I guess you do have to let it cool. Let's try this again, guys. Let's try it again. And then we'll put this here. I'm gonna put the paper back on. I see the ink has come through, but it's not really adhering to the shirt. Alright, let's see. And we're just gonna wait for this to cool down. It's so important to follow the instructions to the T. I wanted this to be the matte finish shirt, but because I pressed it again the way that I pressed it, with the backing on it when I pressed it the second time, that just made it the glossy finish shirt. So please follow the instructions to a T. All right, guys, so we are going to lint roll this shirt. This one is going to be the matte finish. I'm going to lint roll it first, and then we are going to pre-press it for 5 seconds. All right. Next, we are going to place our image on top. Then you want to get your 10 pieces of paper, and you place your 10 pieces of copy paper on top. And then you will press this for 15 seconds. Now you're going to remove your copy paper. As you can see, that color is not yet through the vinyl, so it's recommended that we let it cool off. So I'm just going to let this cool off for a second. All right, guys, so this one has cooled off, and so we just need to remove the film from the top. And to do that, they suggest that you kind of just roll it off. I guess somehow you roll it off, but this does not look like it wants to roll off for me. See, you just kind of, I guess you find a spot that will stay down, and then you kind of roll it off that way. That was kind of hard finding an actual spot to kind of peel it, and it's not all peeling. That's another thing. But I did let it cool down as the instructions said, and so I'm just going to kind of keep rolling it off. And we'll see. All right, so we are supposed to take this back under the press for another 30 seconds. All right, so now we're under the press, and it says to use a silicone paper, but I don't have silicone paper, so I'm just going to use a piece of my trusty butcher paper. And then I will also put a piece of Teflon. So I didn't really want to put the Teflon on top of the image because there's nothing covering it, and we know that that ink will just transfer over to the Teflon, and I don't want to do that. It's probably better if I did put the Teflon, because I'm thinking now that maybe this butcher paper will stick to it, but let's see. Alright guys, so I decided to go and grab a piece of parchment paper, and then I'm also going to put my butcher paper on top. And we are going to press this now for 30 seconds. Alright guys, we're all done, and we are going to let this cool off before we peel the parchment paper off. Hopefully that was the right paper. Alright guys, so now we are going to peel the backing off of this shirt, and this is supposed to be the glossy finish. Okay, so we are just going to kind of peel it away the same way we peeled it off of the other shirt. And y'all, it really is glossy. Like glossy, like plastic kind of glossy. I know you guys see the sheen a little bit, but I'm doing that so you can see the sheen. Okay. And it does feel glossy, it has a different feel than the shirt. So this feels very, very glossy, and then you move into the material of the shirt. I just want to see how nicely it's on here, and it appears to be on here very nicely. There is no lifting around those edges. Alright guys, so we have let our next shirt cool, and this is the one that's supposed to have a more matte finish, and we need to peel this off. Now, is this going to come off? I have no idea, but we are going to see. Okay, remember this was the parchment paper. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of try to just roll it the same way, and it honestly, it does not look like this wants to come off, so I probably should not have used this paper. I should have just stuck with, but that's what I was more so worried about with the butcher paper, was it coming off of the, like, with it staying stuck. So I don't know guys, but it does not look like this parchment paper. So if you do try this, you definitely want to be careful with the paper. Like, I'm able to peel it off some, but it's definitely probably a user error. If you have used this in the past, please let me know in the comments. I'm sure you guys will be like, oh, you had to do it this way, and I'm open for all suggestions. I think I may try to warm it up a little bit more to see if I can get this paper off. Like, it comes off in some places and then it's just stuck. I mean, the color that isn't under the, and I can feel here, I don't know if you guys can see, like, where there isn't any of that butcher or that parchment paper, but it is nice. There's a nice finish to it. It's not glossy like the other one, and it doesn't have that like plastic shiny feel to it, but I gotta get that paper off somehow. Alright guys, water pretty much works on a lot of things, and that is how I'm getting this paper off the top. So this is definitely a user error. You may want to use a Teflon sheet or some type of silicone paper, but I do want you guys to see the color. Well, I really want to see the color because this is my first time using it. So I'm just going to patiently peel off the paper that got stuck onto it, and then I will show you guys the finished product. All right, y'all. So we are all done testing out the Forever Subli-Flex 202. And here's what I think. There are so many steps to getting this product onto the shirt and the sublimation to come through. And I did find that it took too long. Like, I like to kind of press and go. And this is not a press and go type of product. It's a press and wait and press and wait and press type of product. So that's one downside for me. The item comes in, well, it's one item, but you can have either a glossy finish or you can have a matte finish. And the glossy finish, y'all, is very, very glossy. I don't know if you guys can really tell, but it is very, very glossy. It feels very, very glossy, very, very slick, and just like, yep, like you can go and just slip and fall on it. That's how it feels. Like if it was on the ground, you might walk and slip and fall on it. However, this finish has kind of grown on me. When you feel it, it's two completely different textures that you're feeling. It does not blend in at all. And as we know, that's part of sublimation. We like for that ink to kind of just attach to the shirt and we go. It's nothing separate. We don't even feel the ink. But this is not this product is not the case in either of the finishes. All right, and then you'll saw I messed up. I put parchment paper down because I thought that parchment paper was more silicone based than butcher paper, but I was wrong. And so that parchment paper got stuck to our image, and I had to put water on it and try to get as much paper off as possible, and I was able to get a nice amount of paper off. I do think that this particular product, the color takes really nice on the product. I have not, of course, washed it yet because I just used it, but I will wash it, and once I wash it, I will give an update so that you guys can know exactly how it washes. But I went ahead and I pressed another image on another shirt, and this image, I put the butcher paper on top instead of putting the parchment paper on top where it calls for the silicone paper. And once it cooled off, the butcher paper came off with no problem. It didn't leave any residue or anything, and the colors look really good. With this product, you also want to make sure that you do wait until it is cold before you go on to the next step. You don't want to rush it. You have to take your time. So that's the only that's the other thing with it. It just takes much longer to produce a product. Now, you can feel the vinyl in these shirts. It's not a heavy vinyl, but you can feel it, and you know that it is there with all vinyls, but some are lighter than others, and this one is not really that light. So it kind of, even with me doing like this, it crinkles right away. So that is Subli-Flex. It comes with more instructions as far as washing and ironing and drying. So if you were to purchase this product, it has, I mean, it comes with a whole bunch of instructions for you. So I mean, it's up to you. But that is it for today. We tried out this Subli-Flex 202, and we were able to finally get it adhered to our shirts. And if you are in a bind, you may be interested in getting it. Will I use the Subli-Flex? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know. So, but that's it, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join us on Facebook at Craftable Things. We would love to have you there.